Hey everyone, welcome to our next webinar in the sensory processing series. Today we're going to be going through the important sense of proprioception. This is an internal sense in our body that helps us identify how our muscles and body are working in the space around us. Let's get started. So first, what is proprioception? Proprioception is an essential part of our nervous system that helps us recognize where our body is in space. This can help us identify how far objects are away from us, whether or not we're going to bump into something as we're walking past it, whether or not we're going to trip on unsteady surfaces. It also helps us with our overall coordination when we're engaging in activities like balancing or hand-eye coordination sports. It also helps us to know how much force we need to exert during a certain activity. So it helps us not press too hard when we're using a pencil or if we're playing in rough play with our kids. So examples of proprioception in action is when a child is pushing another child on the swing. They can sense how much force is needed to make the swing move without having to think about it. Another example is climbing stairs without looking at their feet. So they can automatically judge how high they need to lift their foot to clear the step without kicking it or without tripping over. Some signs of proprioception challenges include clumsiness, poor coordination, using too much force, especially if kids are engaging in rough play with one another. One who struggles with proprioception may take it a bit too far or hurt the other child. We can also see kids seeking contact, so they may want more cuddles, more deep pressure, struggle with keeping personal space from other kids. We may also notice them having poor balance, tripping over frequently, especially if they're walking on uneven surfaces. And they may also get fatigued quickly. You may also notice them propping themselves up, resting against walls, and having low energy levels. So some real life examples of how this might manifest in a child's life. Let's start with a writing task. So a child presses the pencil too hard, breaking the tip, or holds it too loosely, making their writing faint and difficult to read. This can cause fatigue and frustration during homework or class activities. In playground, the child avoids climbing on play equipment like ladders or monkey bars because they aren't sure where their body is in space, and it makes coordinating these movements a lot more difficult for them. Climbing on monkey bars and rock climbing walls also requires a great level of muscle activation, and kids may have a lower awareness of which muscles they need to use in these activities, which make these tasks more difficult for them. Sports and physical play, the child has difficulty catching or throwing a ball because they cannot accurately judge where their hands are and how much force to use. They might bump into teammates during group games or fall frequently when running. The tricky part is that these difficulties can lead to the child avoiding these activities, meaning that they miss out on the massive developmental gains that they can get from engaging in them. Now we'll go through some strategies to help children develop their proprioception skills. First off, we have heavy work activities. This is pretty much any activity that involves our body working against a resistance, whether it's pushing against it, pulling against it, or lifting it above the ground. This helps to activate our large muscle groups, both in the upper body and lower body, to help increase our awareness of muscles activating and how they work. The activation of these muscles through heavy work activities can help kids develop their gross motor coordination and awareness of how their body moves in space. Next, we have deep pressure input. So the tight contact that kids can feel through being wrapped up in a blanket, having a tight hug, or enclosing themselves in a quiet space can help provide calming input to their body, increase their alertness levels, as well as give them a greater awareness of how their body is feeling in the moment. Again, helping themselves be much more aware of how their body moves and responds to the environment around them. Finally, we have gross motor play. This is an amazing tool as OTs for us to help children develop their proprioceptive skills. Sports like climbing, swimming, jumping, or team sports such as football or soccer strengthen the body's awareness of force, balance, and coordination through active engagement of muscles and joints. The best part of this is kids can engage in these activities without feeling like they're doing any work or therapy at all. Because these activities are really fun and engaging, kids can work on proprioception in a way that they can consistently do throughout the day without it feeling like a chore for them. It also makes it easy for us as therapists, educators, or parents to consistently give our child opportunities to do this throughout the day, consistently developing this skill. Another thing to consider is activities like swimming provide a natural resistance through the water. Therefore, the child is always working against the resistance and activating a large amount of muscles in their body. Therefore, swimming can be a good bang for your buck when trying to work on proprioception. Another honorable mention is gymnastics. Because it works so much on our balance and core strength, this can also be a massive developer for a child's proprioceptive skills. To summarize, proprioception is the body's ability to sense its position, movement, and amount of force that it's exerting through its muscles and joints. It can impact a child's participation in a wide range of activities, especially those that involve gross motor movements and exertion of force through the muscle joints. It can impact a child's participation in a wide variety of activities, particularly those that involve gross motor movements or force. Heavy work, gross motor games and sports, and deep pressure activities can help children to develop their proprioception skills and increase their participation in a wider variety of activities in their everyday life. As usual, if you want to learn more or have any questions, please feel free to contact us using the details on the screen. We'll see you next time.